Welcome to the Bean Apple Podcast.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Bean Apple, the Week 4 recap show. So the Jets, they played on Thursday. We recapped them already. Nothing too exciting to talk about there, but the Patriots and Giants, they played on Sunday. Nobody won, but they played, right? So we're going to dive into those. We're going to talk about the AFC East and the NFC East matchups. So again, I'm joined just by Jim. So it's going to be me and him breaking down the games. So hopefully you're ready. A lot on our plates, a lot of pressure, but I think what else could go wrong as a New York fan? So
right, we haven't won a game yet, either one of us. So
right.
Whatever.
So if the show is a disaster, just expect it, right?
Right. Set your expectations low.
Yes, and you'll never be disappointed. So, all right. So let's start off with the Patriots at the Chiefs. I think a game that up until a couple days ago, a lot of people the Cam versus Mahomes matchup, which was looking like a really good one until he decided to get the COVID and missed the game. So
I don't know if he decided to get COVID. He chose to maybe break protocol or something. I haven't heard yet why or how, but
yeah. But I'd like to think he put himself in the position to get it. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty
sure. He probably put one of his costumes on, dressed up with makeup, and went out and tried to go incognito. And
yeah. Or maybe he probably went to like the Salvation Army to get some weird hat that like your grandma had back in 1929, and it had
kerchief.
Tied it underneath, and it had the COVID on it, and boom. That's how it happened.
Terrible. That's terrible.
I know. But hey, low expectations. So anyway, Brian Hoyer was chosen to step in as his replacement in this one over Jarrett Stidham, who eventually came in the game later, but Hoyer looked terrible in this game. 130 yards, an interception, 2 sacks, which were 2 absolutely brutal sacks. Cost them a lot. He also, I think he fumbled one of those away, one of those sacks I think they were in the red zone. I know they were definitely in field goal range, and he fumbled that one away right before the half, I think it was. So that was disgusting. Then Stidham comes in, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Edelman kind of screwed him over on one of those interceptions. That was right through his hands and just a gift pick 6 to the defender. But positive notes, Damian Harris stepped in. It seems like it's a different running back for New England all the time. Last week it was Sony Michel, 100 yards. This time Damian Harris, exactly 100 yards. These guys just take turns, just high-fiving out for 100-yard rushing games, which is weird. But for the receiving side, Damiere Byrd was their leading receiver, 5 for 80. Very surprising. My boy N'Keal Harry, only 3 catches for 21 yards, but he did have the lone touchdown of the game. He really needs to start stepping it up. I mean, I watched him play for ASU, and he was unstoppable on the field, just shredding people. Patriots took him as the first wide receiver in the draft, and he is not performing up to it, which is very disappointing because I thought he was going to be outstanding. And then we talked about Edelman, only 3 for 35, so a massive step back from his game last week, which he had, 170 yards or something crazy like that. And he did have that huge pick 6 right off of his hands. He was looking down the field.
What was that? That's not like him at all. I mean, he never turns his head. I mean, he's money. And not last night.
No, that was really shocking. So this game, I mean, you look at the box score, right? It was 6-3 at the half, which if you would have told me that coming into the game, I would have put money against you.
Right.
Mahomes should have been able to just shred this up and put this game to bed well before halftime against Hoyer. And there's nobody like Bill Belichick is definitely an outstanding coach. I hate I hate to say it. And John's going to listen to this, huge smile on his face, and that hurts me just as much. But yeah, Belichick can coach. I mean, he knows what to do with very limited talent. He's still stuck in a game that he had no business being in. I mean, the Patriots looked more competitive until the very end than the Ravens did. And the Ravens' talent is far and away better than the Patriots. So big props to that. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the other side, he controlled the ground game, 64 yards. He had 3 for 27. So he hasn't matched that explosive game that he had in week 1 where he looked like an absolute dominant fantasy asset. But still, solid game. But yeah, he's kind of coming back to earth. Travis Kelce, massive. What was that, like a 50-yard run that he had? Running catch there, 45-yard catch, which was outstanding. He finished 3 for 70, got ripped off. He should have got a touchdown, but I gave it to Hardman instead, which kind of hurt because I had Kelce and I needed those points. I was in that league I was talking to you about that I lost by 2 points and a little bit more, and I would have had it. So, but yeah, so this game, right, it went the way we kind of expected it to. Kansas City final box score 26-10. Should have probably been 46-10, but New England did an outstanding job holding them down. But it inevitably was just too much for them to handle, and that game got away from them at the end. So not a huge surprise, but
yeah, I mean, but really, they did. They made Mahomes look human, and the defense really did a great job in the secondary of covering guys up, putting pressure on them. I mean, maybe it was a trap game. Once they knew they were going against Hoyer, maybe they kind of called the dogs off. But, man, I'll tell you, like you said, 6-3 at halftime. They scored a touchdown in the third quarter. And really, the Pats were in it. I mean, he does that one bad play, like you said. I think it was right before the half in the red zone. And, they could have easily went in, I think, tied or maybe even ahead. And then there was another play where they were close. And, I mean, really, they lost it, right? It wasn't that the Chiefs beat them. They had every opportunity to win that game or at least go into the fourth quarter, and it would have been a toss-up, right? But, hats off to the defense. I mean, they really, I think, had a good game plan going in and held them in check. And something the Ravens couldn't do, or really anybody else. They play. Everybody else, it looks like they're playing in the backyard, running up and down the field on them. And in Arrowhead, too, right? So they were at home. It wasn't even like they were in New England. And I was really surprised how close that game was.
And with fans in the stands too.
Yeah, I mean, incredible.
That shouldn't even have been a close game. It really shouldn't. There was no business. I thought it was going to be an absolute blowout. You figure you could have probably bet 14. Once Cam went down, you're thinking it's an easy, and it ended up being, like I said, a 16-point win, but it wasn't looking like that until the fourth quarter. So
they kept the Chiefs offense off the field. That was the key, right? So couldn't do as much damage, but they did enough to win. So.
Right, and they did it on the ground. I mean, they, like I said, Damian Harris had 100 yards, but the entire team rushed for 185 yards, which that's how you beat Patrick Mahomes. Like you said, you keep him off the field, and how do you keep him off the field? You run the ball and you run that clock, and
you move the ball and move the sticks.
Yep.
Right.
And they put themselves in two red zone or field goal positions, and they left points on the board there. So, if they score, if they come through on those 2 drives, you're talking another 14 points. Now it's a 26-24 game, going into the end of the game. How does that change? So, missed opportunities. And this is, we were texting back and forth about it during the game. This is what it's like when you don't have a quarterback. Like New England Patriots, there's kids who have absolutely no idea what a Patriots team is without Tom Brady. I mean, there's 20-year-old men right now that have never seen a Patriots game without Tom Brady in it. They've never known the struggles that we know of going year after year. And you had Eli for a long time, but even before that, year in, year out, it's always a quarterback controversy. You never have that elite guy. And now I think the Patriots got the first taste of what life is like without an elite guy. And it's
right. They're not used to that at all. Yeah. I mean, we've been lucky too. I mean, the Giants, I mean, the Giants and Jets aren't in the same boat there because the Giants, before Eli, I mean, we've had Kurt Warner for a couple of years. We had Kerry Collins for a couple of years. Kerry Collins, I mean, we had Joe Juravicius. I mean, I knew some guys that were familiar with or friendly, I guess, with Juravicius, and they couldn't believe when Collins came over after he was in Carolina and he had some drinking problems and some stuff off field. But man, they were like his accuracy and the speed of his ball. They couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would put the ball wherever he wanted it. So he played here for a couple of years. I mean, I think he was the quarterback against the Ravens when we lost the Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, so we've been lucky to have a guy. It wasn't like week to week. Oh, are we going to bench him? Is he going to come out? We've had a steady somebody, whether it's 3 or 4 years or like Eli, as long as Eli was. Now you'll see. Hopefully, Jones is going to be the guy going forward. For 10 years or so. But that's kind of how it's been, and we've been lucky that way. But yeah, the Pats, I mean, so they got Cam, and I guess Cam's going to be here for a few years. But I thought Stidham looked good when he came in. He drove him down the field. He did some stuff and made some throws, and we'll see if he's. Well, I don't know who's playing. I don't know how quick Cam's going to recover, but we'll see.
Well, he looked better than Hoyer, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely a lot more zip on the ball. A lot more decisive. That was one thing you saw Hoyer dancing around back there, holding on the ball for way too long and taking those sacks that he couldn't take. At least Stidham was getting rid of the ball. He was moving it. He was throwing it away when need be. So he definitely looked like the better quarterback. We'll see what he turns into, but he should definitely get the shot against the Broncos next week, I think. But I'm not Bill Belichick. God, he'll probably bring somebody in off the street and win the game. So, but yeah.
Well, speaking of holding the ball too long and not knowing when to throw it, Daniel Jones.
Your franchise quarterback. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, that's the one part of his game he's got to get better at. I mean, he's got to be able to just 1, 2, 3, tuck and run or throw it away. You can't just keep on looking until someone strips the ball. And I mean, it's you stand there, everyone, I mean, there's nobody in the stadium, but anybody watching a game is yelling, throw the ball or run it. And he doesn't do it. I mean, so here we go, 0-4 now, right? We lose 17-9 against the Rams and another game. So we're in the game, right? We're playing and when you look at the numbers, so Jones goes 23 for 36 for 190. Goff just a little bit better, 25 for 32 for 200, right? So he has a TD, Jones has an INT. Okay. But rushing, Giants ran for 136 with really no rusher. I mean, we got Devontae, we got Gallman, and the Rams only rushed for 58. So we were talking about Henderson. It's going to be Henderson all day long. He has 8 carries for 22 yards. Yeah, so all of a sudden, what happened?
I can't explain. I was watching that game furious because I thought I had Henderson in fantasy. I thought he was going to go off like we talked about in the preview show. We thought the Rams would go vanilla. And they did. It went very vanilla, but they didn't give it to Henderson. They were, messing with Malcolm Brown. Like, why? Henderson has been absolutely crushing it for you guys. And they go away from him and make this a very close game.
Right. I mean, so at halftime it's 10-6, and I'm thinking, okay, we're in this game. Third quarter, nobody scores. But and I'll tell you, just like the Pats, I thought the Giants defense played great. I mean, so Blake Martinez leads again with 13 tackles. The kid's all over the place. Mm-hmm. He's in the backfield. He's playing great. I mean, I really like Marcus Golden too, but he really didn't do anything this game. Blake Martinez has been the leader. And I'll tell you, Kyler Fackrell, who came over from Green Bay too, he was in Goff's face, pushing that offensive line back. He had 1 sack. I thought he played a great game. And Ryan Lewis, who – we've been looking for help at cornerback, and I'll tell you, he was like a blanket on the receivers. I mean, I think this is his second year. I think he's played at Pitt, and I was really impressed with him too. I mean, we were able to hold the Rams down and not let them blow up on us. Like they're capable of. I mean, you saw what happened in Buffalo, but the defense, we're able to hold them in check, and even Donald, right? So we talked about Donald, right? So Nick Gates, I said in the pregame, was going to be the big challenge for him was going to be containing Donald. Donald only had 2 tackles and 2 pressures, right? I mean, I looked up, so they said he got a 5.3% disruption rate versus his average of 17.2.
Wow.
So Gates really was able to, I'll tell you, the line against Pittsburgh, against Chicago. They couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But against Donald, the wrecking ball, and that line, they were able to make some room. And like I said, Giants outrushed the Rams. And, Jones was able to have some time to throw the ball, but we just couldn't do enough. We just couldn't do enough to win it.
Yeah. And if you would have told me that Aaron Donald would have half a sack in this game, I would have bet the over. But they definitely they did a good job of holding him down in check, and that was good to see. But man, just nobody on the offense for the Giants is breaking through. I mean,
nobody can break away. There's no big Garrett comes over. Jason Garrett comes over from Dallas, like I said, and I mean he's the coordinator, and he's doing zero. Right? I mean, we have the worst offense. There's no big plays.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have 3 touchdowns in 16 quarters. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, so again, Barkley's not there, but come on. I mean, nobody can get open. We can't, like we talked about with the Jets. We can't do a rub route. We can't do any kind of trick play. There's no trickery. And he is moving guys around on a line, so they are doing some pre-snap movement, but there's just nothing. I cannot believe how bad they look on offense. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And Slayton's still their leading receiver, but I mean 3 for 48 on 7 targets. 7 and that's another thing. Is 7 targets for him with only 3 catches. Ingram 10 targets, only 6 catches. These guys are leaving catches on the field, and that's
Ingram had a couple of drop balls, one he shouldn't have dropped, and then Tate. I don't know if you saw Tate get slammed to the ground by Jalen Ramsey.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Did you see that pick up?
Oh man,
WWE it is now, but
yeah.
Oh my, pick him up, slam him to the ground, and yeah, that was no penalty, right? No unnecessary, but
yeah, and you saw the news after.
Yeah, the family members, and he left his whatever the relationship was.
Yeah, so what they said was, I guess Ramsey left Tate's sister pregnant for a stripper. So there's some very bad blood there for what had happened, and I guess after the game they met up there somewhere around midfield and met Jack Johnson and John O'Reilly and went fisticuffs and
you know who was right in the middle of that fight? Nick Gates. Nick Gates right in there trying to defend his teammate, which is great to see. This kid, during the game, him and Donald were going at it face to face, where hands in the face mask and pulling at each other's face mask, and there was penalties on both sides, and that's the roughness. But yeah, this kid's not going to back down even from the best. Mm-hmm. So I was really impressed to see that too. But and Tate's no angel either. I mean, so there's rumors about Tate when he was in Seattle. I don't know if you know these or not, but apparently Tate, I heard this from someone that knew his first wife. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
That's right. Nobody listens.
Russell Wilson's first wife.
Yeah, breaking news.
Tate and Russell Wilson's first wife were flown around. And like Tate would send snapshot pictures to Russell, like, hey, here's me and your wife. So true or not, I don't know. I'm not trying to spread rumors, but I heard that from somebody that knew somebody up in Seattle and said, yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons that he got run out of town. So
that's brass balls right there.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
But he's not an angel.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. Well, I don't think we can get any higher of a climax than that, huh?
Pretty good. Touche. Going Giants got Dallas coming up next week. So
that Dallas game though this week. Woo.
What is going on with Dallas? I mean, so I got Prescott as my quarterback, and he's running up all kinds of numbers, which I can't complain about. But I mean, the guy, they lose 49-38 to Cleveland Browns. How is this possible? So I talked about, if something crazy happens on our last show, if the Giants beat the Rams, which they almost did, and if the Eagles and Washington, I kept calling them Redskins on our last show. You didn't even stop me.
Sorry, it's so ingrained.
I know. And I said, if Cleveland somehow beats Dallas, it could be a 4-way tie.
Yeah.
And Cleveland lights them up for 49 points. I mean, and Baker only goes 19 of 30 for 165 with 2 touchdowns. So it wasn't like Baker had 5 touchdowns. And Prescott goes 41 for 58 for 502. I mean, 4 touchdowns and an interception. But it wasn't Zeke, right? Zeke goes 12 for 54. He's not doing anything. I don't understand this. So maybe it wasn't Garrett, right? So Garrett left, and Dallas can't do anything now. I really thought Garrett was the problem there. And they have talent, and they just can't do it. And I don't know if you saw some of the plays, but Odell Beckham, they throw a pitch back to him. He runs 60 yards, whatever it was.
50.
Like 5 guys. Everybody was just kind of looking up at the stands. He's running through everybody. I mean, it was unbelievable. Kareem Hunt, 11 for 71. And who's this guy? Dearness Johnson, 13 for 95. I mean, come on. Now here comes Dallas to Giants. Actually, I didn't even look where they're playing. I guess they're playing in the Meadowlands. So Giants have the worst offense. Dallas has the worst defense, right? So can Giants win this week? Can we go 1-4 maybe? Or are we going to be 0-5? We're going to be like the Jets, 0-5. Come on. The NFC East are 3-12-1. How is that possible?
It's bad.
3-12-1. And the Eagles are in first place because they have a tie.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
They're like the NFC West of 10 years ago when like the Seahawks made it at 500.
Yeah. When Steve Largent was playing.
Yeah. And then that was a Hasselbeck game. Or that, and he that's when he famously said, "We want the ball, we're going to win," the overtime coin toss flip. And then I think he threw an interception on the first pass and they lost. That was great. But yeah, that was an exciting game. I remember. I mean, you look at that score; it was 40. It was 40-14 or something like that in the third quarter, and that game was just unbelievable that Dallas put up 24 to come back, and he threw that interception at the very end. But man, they were driving without any problems whatsoever. But I think it's Mike McCarthy. Like everybody, when he got fired, being a Jets fan, like Mike McCarthy is who everybody wanted to hire, except for me, because he had Aaron Rodgers and could only win 1 Super Bowl. Like he's not a great coach. He had Aaron Rodgers. It's like everybody who coached for Peyton Manning. Like you're not a great coach. You just stand there with the playbook and let Peyton Manning run the field. It's the same with Aaron Rodgers, you know. So
Manning was the plays. Nobody else was. He was doing everything. Right.
You didn't have to do anything. You do your hair, you wear something nice, you stand on the sidelines because you're actually
pencil the guy in the lineup and put your thing away, and that's it.
Yeah. And then you just go sit down and you just watch the game. Just watch everything happen. So McCarthy he's a terrible coach. I don't care what anybody says, but he lucked into Aaron Rodgers and he's riding those coattails for as long as he can, but he's nothing special. So let's jump over to the AFC East real quick. So one of the games that I told you guys could potentially be a shocker was the Dolphins and Seahawks. And it was actually looking that way for most of the game. The Dolphins stuck in there. And they were holding on to the very end. It was 17-12 going into the fourth quarter. If you told me the Seahawks were going to be that close to the Dolphins, I wouldn't have believed you. But you look at, they have to fly all the way to Miami. They're playing an early game, which I told you always affects teams. They won this one, but it seemed to have affected them. You're dealing with that heat in Miami, and Miami played very well. They did a very good job. I mean, Russell still 360, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Chris Carson had 80 yards. DK Metcalf, you can't stop that kid. 4 for 106, just ridiculous. No touchdowns, unfortunately. Tyler Lockett got shut down for only 39 yards on 2 catches. And your boy Greg Olsen, 5 for 35 on 7 targets. He led the team in targets, which is shocking with the receiving core that they've got there. And even, I don't even know if he's the number 1 tight end there with Will Disley, that Russell Wilson seems to love. But yeah, really good. On the other side of the house, Fitzpatrick, 315, 2 interceptions. What killed him is he couldn't throw a touchdown in that game. They had 5 field goals, I think it was, total. It was insane that they could not punch anything in, which is 5 for 5. Jason Sanders went on field goal attempts, which kept them in the game. But if Fitzpatrick could have gotten some of those balls in the end zone, this is a Miami win easily. So, Parker went off for 110, 10 catches for 110 yards. They couldn't cover him, 12 targets, couldn't cover him, couldn't stop him, and he was running rampant in that game. But yeah, overall, much more exciting game than it should have been, but definitely not shocked to see a team travel all the way across the country, play early, play in that heat. And that's a young Miami team that's got some talent on it, and it looks like it might be starting to come together. I think we're a week or two away from seeing Tua come in and take that starting role from Fitz. It's about that time to see what the kids got. Because at this point, they're a 1-3 team. They're not going to catch the Bills. So why not hand the reins over to the kid? Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same thing. I mean, why not? What do you got to lose at this point? But give the kid a shot. I mean, Fitzpatrick's just a stopgap for now, but yeah. Again, though, it's a classic trap game, just like the Chiefs, right? Neither one of these games should have been close, and you start looking past them. You figure Seattle's going to light up Miami, and all of a sudden they got to fight. So, and for the other teams, I mean, for Miami, I mean, this is the Super Bowl, right? When you're playing teams like this, they're going to be the favorite to go all the way, and you have to play up to your competition. So, yeah,
right.
So let's another game that was surprising to me in the East, the Eagles, right? I mean, so first of all, they were 6.5 points. They were getting 6.5 points, and it goes up to 9 before the game, right? I mean, Eagles are decimated. Their receivers are out. They got nothing going on. Their line is a mess. And yes, so Kittle comes back, but even though 49ers have some injuries too, Mullins starting. And the Eagles go down the field in the first quarter, score a touchdown, they go for 2 and make it. When I see this happening, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? I saw them score the touchdown. I flipped back to something else. I came back and I see them throwing it into the end zone. And I'm like, did they score again? Well, what's going on here? And I see, they went for 2. Went for 2 on the first drive? I don't think I've ever seen that. Why? But I guess there was some logic behind it because they never lost the lead, I don't think, after that.
Yeah.
So, it goes 8-7 at halftime, 8-7. It's like a baseball game at halftime, right? It's a toss-up. And Philly scores 3 in the third and then 2 touchdowns in the fourth. But you look at the numbers. I mean, Wentz goes 18 for 28, 193. Mullins outduels him, 18 for 26 for 200. And then Beathard goes 14 for 19 for 138. 300 yards to 174. And Wentz has an interception along with a touchdown. Mullins throws 2 and gets benched. And Beathard comes in and goes right down the field, which was pretty impressive. So I'm curious to see. I think Garoppolo's back next week.
Should be.
Yeah, he should be. Is right. I mean, rushing, San Fran outrushed him 116 to 93. Miles Sanders and Wentz actually had 37 yards rushing. But I mean, I did not see the Eagles winning this. And now, because they win the game and because they tied, they're in first place in the East. I mean, just pathetic that, like I said, the NFC East, 3-12-1.
Yeah.
And the Eagles are standing in first place with 1 win.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
I don't know.
How, after 4 win?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, after 4 weeks, has any division ever had, I mean, maybe there's been a division where every team went 0-4. I don't know. I doubt it because there's got to be interdivision games.
Right.
So 3-1, and you're in first place.
Yeah,
okay.
This is weird because San Francisco.
It's sick.
San Francisco handled the Jets and the Giants with their B teams, and the Eagles. They don't look that much better, right? Like if you were to put the Eagles and the Giants up against each other, I wouldn't say one way or the other who's going to win that game. I feel like the talent levels are pretty equal. So for the 49ers to have a home game finally, they can't win that against this team. Like that makes no sense to me whatsoever. I guess maybe they need to stay on the East Coast and just play every game in New York. Is that Is that their key to success? Because getting Kittle back, that should have been the end of it. I mean, 15 for 183. That's just stupid. Like nobody decided to cover him at all. And he caught all 15 of his targets, which is better than most wide receivers can do. But yeah, just a absolute shocker. I can't believe that the Eagles team that couldn't beat the Bengals.
Right. They couldn't beat Washington. They had to beat Washington and they got blown out by him. I mean,
right. And you go into San Francisco and win. This just any given Sunday.
Doesn't matter what it says on paper. You got to play the games. You got to execute.
Yep.
And just, incredible. I would have never thought it.
No. All right. So let's jump back to the AFC side. Let's talk the Bills and Raiders. So this is another one of those games that I hear echoes of John saying, can the Bills close the games out when they matter? And they did here, but again, a game that was closer than it should have been. 30-23 final. Las Vegas, they hung in there to the very end. Josh Allen, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took 1 sack. He rushed for a shocking -1 yards on 3 carries, which is very unlike him, and probably the reason why this game was so close. But nothing going on the running game for Buffalo. Stephon Diggs went crazy, 6 catches on 7 targets for 115 yards.
I love that.
Yeah, no touchdowns, but he was coming up with big play after big play. Beasley and Gabriel Davis caught the touchdowns. Cole Beasley's, man, he's such a fiery, quick guy. He was a very nice pickup for them. And Devin Singletary finally gets in the end zone. He had 18 for 55, 1 touchdown on the ground, and then 5 for 21 on the receiving side. So pretty nice day overall there. On the other side, Darren Waller came back to life. 9 catches on 12 targets for 88 yards. So Patriots shut him down. The Bills couldn't do it. But that's about the only thing. Derek Carr, he had 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good game overall. 107 rating. Pretty good, but yeah, very evenly distributed across all the receivers. I think 9 different receivers he hit in the game. So that's good to see. Josh Allen had 10. So very, very widely distributed. So nobody really stands out except for Diggs. But yeah, very close game. Very surprised that the score was as close as it was, and Derek Carr is getting all pissed off, saying that he's sick of losing. It's like, dude, you're a Raider. I don't know what else you expect, but yeah, you played for the Raiders. What they haven't won since the 90s. So,
but really, they weren't playing that up-tempo game either that they played against the Saints. I mean, they were at home, so I thought they were going to beat Buffalo at home because I thought they were going to play the same kind of game. Right? I thought Gruden was going to develop a game plan was be fast-paced, quick hits, and just like they were playing on skates last time. And that's not what happened. I mean, they had they were down by 1 point after 3 quarters, 17-16 going into the fourth. So they're right there. And then they just couldn't finish the game out. I mean, I thought the Raiders were going to win at home here. And surprised. I mean, so I did say I thought Buffalo was going to win the division preseason, and so which wasn't a big stretch for anyone's imagination, but maybe yours, but maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's Bills look like they're for real, I guess, and they hung in there against the Rams last week after that big comeback by the Rams, and still played to the end. You got to play to the whistle, and they did, and they pulled it out. Hey, they're 4-0.
Yep.
All right. So yeah,
let's close it out with your final.
The Washington football team, that one.
Yeah. Got to round out the NFC East, right? So
okay. So Ravens go to Washington, right? So
the end.
The end. Right. Haskins throws for 314. What is it? 21-10 at halftime. I mean, I wasn't expecting Washington to do anything here. Ravens after looking horrible against the Chiefs. I mean, but Jackson only throws for 193 compared to Haskins 314,
Mm-hmm.
2 TDs, 1 interception. But obviously we know the Ravens are going to be there at the end. They're going to be in the playoffs. We didn't expect anything coming out of Washington.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they even have one win. I think I only gave them. I think I put them out for 3-13. I got to look back at what I wrote. But yeah, I mean, not an exciting game. I didn't see this game, but
Right.
What are you going to say?
No, nothing special. The only
it happened exactly what it should have, right? I mean, no surprises.
Yeah. Terry McLaurin was the only real standout, 10 for 118 on 14 targets, but there's nobody else on that team. So he's just getting force fed constantly. So a nice fantasy asset. If you've got him, play him, because they suck and they're throwing the ball all the time to try to keep up. I mean, 45 attempts in a game. That's a ton. So
he catches 10, 14 targets too. I mean, you think they would take him away, right? Just take that guy away. I mean,
right.
And Jackson, right? Jackson is a leading rusher again. 53 yards, on seven carries. I mean,
yeah. But Baltimore really didn't really need to worry about shutting McLaurin down, and they didn't really need to pull anything special out. They just went out and just played a nice, easy football game and won that. So, all right. So that's the wrap of the AFC and NFC East, our divisions. So we'll be back next week to probably later on this week, to talk about the preview show. Quickly to update the Pick'em League, T Drake 91 with 40 points, still holding on to the lead by 1. It's that's somebody that one of John's coworkers. No. I don't look like a T Drake kind of guy. I don't think, but so John's in second, Burrow or Bust in third, and then Murderers Row in fourth.
And look at the total points. Is it really fourth?
It is.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 40, 39, 39, 37. So you're 2 back. Close, and then I'm sitting down pretty low. I need to stop trying to make cute picks to try and catch up and just let you guys start messing up and making easy picks. So I'm sitting at 35 points. So 5 games back right now. But on the other side of the house in our league, in our regular fantasy league, I took down Bayside Ballers.
Bayside Ballers. Who's that?
Bayside Ballers, your sister. Took her down. It was the battle of the undefeateds. So I won that one. So I have sole possession of first place in 4-0. It was the most disgusting match that has ever been played for 2 undefeated teams. The final score was 84-72. Disgusting. It was bad. I was projected 125. I only got to 84. She was projected 113, only got to 72. Just injuries galore.
What did I have? 154?
154. You were only projected 116. So you took all my extra points. Yeah. I didn't need them to win, so I gave them to you to make sure that you.
And who's got the most points this season?
Oh, I mean, not like that matters, but that would be Young Guns.
Young Guns.
524.
And where am I? I got to be right next to
509. And you're currently in second place.
Yeah. And by the way, that does count. When you have 500, you'll know it. You'll say, yeah, that counts.
It only counts for tiebreaker for 4th or 5th place.
Whatever.
Yeah. But I'm going to enjoy this for one more week because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get killed next week with all the injuries that I took this week. So my reign at the top is probably limited. We'll see. I'm projected 73 points. So I'm going to have to do a little roster. Yeah, I'm going to have to make some moves to try and catch back up again, but we'll see what happens. Anyway. All right. So that wraps up this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was entertaining. If it is, like it, subscribe. I'm going to drop all of these call to actions right now. So please help us gain some traction. There's a lot of sports guys out there, but this duo and usually trio, sometimes quadruple tandem is
what it's for.
It's right? What?
Band.
Yeah.
Four-piece band.
Yeah. So when the band is all back together, we're definitely untouchable. But I'd say the duo is still pretty good. So please subscribe to it, like the page, help us grow. So we will see you guys later on in this week when we do our week 5 preview. And until then, have an outstanding week.